How's it going? This is bigSHow, theGod. I thought I'd continue my thoughts, documenting them online, and maybe today's one will be more. I'll just structure some notes. We're going to go into something I notice with myself from a self-awareness perspective is my ability to overthink. So let's write that up so I can work in what I mean by that. So overthink. Maybe we'll subset it with overthinking. And then if we go as a example, so what's the example of this? Well, it's not new. It's not new to me that I overthink things. So it's more. So here's the thing. So an example is from a look someone gave me, or from a from a look, from a comment, from no comment to not being there, right? I can add to what I'm already thinking, now, that's a reason why. So no response from a text or a Facebook will tell me, if I want it to, I can read more into it, right? And then the type of response of how it's worded will tell me what I want it to tell me if I allow it. So it's a lose-lose from a negative mindset or framework, or from a always hypotheticalizing everything, when 80% of that is not true, potentially. And even if what I'm thinking is true, what difference does it make? Right? Because we all have our ways of being. So part of this is to say, the self-awareness is identifying that I'm doing it, which is what this is kind of suggesting. And then what do I do about it? Right? So part of this thing is, so if I get self-awareness, understanding that I do it. understanding that I do it when I'm doing it, while I'm doing it. That's real self-awareness. Well, then it's quicker. So that's, and for an overthinker, or someone like myself who's doing this all the time, understanding that I do it while I'm doing it. So that's difficult. So even that's difficult in itself. So then the way I'm currently dealing with it, current tools, is once identified, take time to journal. Journal the thoughts. And from there would be question. Question if the energy was worthwhile. So that's where I get to with my energy levels. So that's back to my value system. See the values, energy spent, energy spent on stuff, thoughts that are not true. Energy spent on thoughts that are not true. So if I question the energy spent on thoughts that are not true, that's actually that I think true. That I think are true. Vision, energy, spin on thoughts that I think are true and out of my control. That's a good one. A lot of times we're re-evaluating. So this comes from re-evaluation. Spell evaluation. Evaluation. Re-evaluation. Requires more discussion / communication. So that's kind of the system. So here's I apply this in the projects I do, which is kind of leading me to the rationale of applying this stuff and bringing it into the relationships. And what I did notice with this overthinking sort of leads into my creative mindset as well. So the overthinking leads you down the creative question. Creative problem solving. Because it's all theoretical, right? But it's relying on quite a group of So the problem with it is that you can, or what I'm finding with it, when you add that to your creative potential, the overthinking, you're never getting where you're only governed by your biggest weakness of that list. So they all have to go together. That's what I mean by that. So what I mean by that can be, for example, my creative side comes out, and maybe this room sort of indicates some of that, and that's based on the environment I'm in. And it's criteria that I've kind of formed with what I've got around me in order to either to be creative but not be the same as everybody else, yet cherry pick stuff that relates to me. As selfish as that sounds, that's what this room indicates. And then there's some type of inclusiveness in this room where anybody can use it. Yet it's very customized to me and the environment I'm choosing to be in. Correct? I've decided how this whole room goes with the wife, yet it's predominantly my criteria, because I've set that out, right? And the criteria is, I don't really want something in here that's just in anybody's house. So there'll be just it'll be very few. You know, I question pretty much every piece of this room is questioned, and that continues outside. That's the overthinking I'm sharing here. So I've come with a bit of a concept that I'm starting to develop of adding a wall with some stuff that matters to me. Now I could keep doing this forever. So having these constraints stops me over just going over the top for something that, why? Right? Where does it end? Where does it stop? Well, it doesn't, but I decide the criteria, and within this criteria I can be nice and specific about why that's here, why that's not here. We've outgrown that, but that's changed, so that happens, and so everything's orderly, slowly moving in a way that I live in an environment of progress. But one of the criteria of that, I set criteria to develop patience, and then to develop enjoying what you have right now for longer, rather than wanting the next thing. And how I'm developing that in an interesting way is I just have to move a couple of things in this room, and because it has the bones of the structure in those contexts, I move one thing in this room, and it changes my whole outlook here. I progressed it. I move that couch around, progresses it for me, right? So yeah, so that's so that's where the overthinking was. So I have it, the planning thing, and then there's the execution of that, and so that's what leads into creative and problem solving for me. I better tell him. Maybe I'll try and put that in, eh? See what he says. So yes, that's where I go to with why things in this room kind of show my overthinking perspective to it. So I might talk about that some more another time.